We are in conversation with the young and dynamic Naveen Jindal. He's the chairman of the $3.5 billion Jindal Steel and Power Group. He's a member of parliament, an activist, a polo player, and a skeet shooter. A man of many, many talents. Thank you so much for joining us today on the show.
Thank you, Devna.
We'll get into the various areas of your life, but let's start at the beginning. In 1993, at the ripe age of 23,
Yeah.
you took over the reins of this company and have brought it to what it was. It was a moderately performing company. So at that point, what was your vision? And how much do you think you've achieved so far?
Well, when I started in 1993, I was working under my dad, and I was just trying to learn because I had just completed my MBA from University of Texas, Dallas, and straight moved from Dallas, Texas to Raigad in Madhya Pradesh at that time. Wow. And this company was making huge losses. It was making 4-5 crore loss every month, and that seemed a big deal. And I would, go and talk to my father. I used to be very worried about it, and he would tell me, he said, "Don't worry, this company, this unit will make 100 crore profit one day." So that sounded so big, that 100 crore, in a year. And I think, we are making 4-5 crore loss every month, and he's saying 100 crore profit. He's just trying to, please me. He's just trying to make sure that I don't lose heart. So I didn't really believe him. So at that time, to talk about vision, no, not much of a vision. I just was trying very hard that we should break even, that we should stop making these losses. And then gradually, that day came that we stopped making losses. We started to break even. Then we started to make some profit. And yes, we made a 100 crore, and then we made a 200 crore and 500 crore. So that's when it turned around, then obviously it gave me also a lot of confidence in my team, in myself. And then after that, with God's grace and a lot of team effort at GSPL, we've never looked back. We always, now I can say that yes, we have a vision for steel. We want to be, presently we are producing around 3 million tons. And then we have a vision in the next 10 years to produce around 20 million tons. So 4-5 times of our existing capacity. Similarly, in power, we are producing around 2,000 megawatt right now. And in 10 years' time, we want to produce more than 20,000 megawatt. And I'm not talking only in India. India plus our operations in the Middle East, in Africa. So all together, we hope to achieve these numbers for sure.
So when you were 23 and starting out, it was never a choice, right? It was going to be come back to the family business.
Well, I was always very keen on sports. Yeah. I was always more keen on polo, shooting. So in fact, I was not much into business. So, but when you get involved in something, start working at it, then slowly you get involved, really involved in it. And then, I used to all the time, I used to tell my dad, I said, you used to ride and I'm playing polo. Yeah. I said, you used to shoot once in a while and I'm on the Indian shooting team. So he used to say, well, I set up a lot of plants also. And then I just used to keep quiet and think in my mind that, okay, one day maybe I'll set up new plants.
Perhaps he was also showing you that you have the luxury to do other things once your bread and butter is established.
Sure. No, he would always say that. He would always, I was, when I was studying in the US and he started to put up this plant in Raigad. Then I say why don't you put up the plant in Raipur? Raipur, there is an airport and Raigad is like 5 hours drive from Raipur. So he said the amount of money we'll save on transportation cost, you could own an airplane. I said, oh, that makes sense. So I started to learn flying in the US. So he was always, he was very clear in his thoughts, and he would give very simple answers that one could understand and which made sense to everyone.
So clearly you are very much who you are today because of your father.
Yes, definitely.
And you were the youngest, right?
I'm the youngest, yes.
So you also must have been terribly spoiled.
I don't know.
I don't think growing up.
No, I don't think that was my father's style at all. He used to always he was very old-fashioned. and he would always say that, you know, one has to be strict with one's kids. And in fact, he used to say there's so many people that I've seen around that they love their kids too much and then they spoil them forever.
From 93 to where it is today, you crossed many milestones. You brought a lot of integration to the company, backward, forward. You bought coal mines. You now have the largest sponge iron manufacturing facility in the world. So how did you sort of form your strategy as you went along?
Well, you see, it has always been teamwork. And regarding the mines, again, I would say that was the vision of my father. Because at that time, you know, these mines, there were hardly any takers. Nobody wanted to be in the business of mining coal, because you could buy coal probably cheaper from Coal India rather than to mine your own coal. Similarly, iron ore. So, but my father was always very focused that yes, we have to have our own raw material source, so that we are not dependent on anyone else. And I would say God has been very kind. We've been very lucky, and the harder we worked, the luckier we got.
Your company is part of the O.P. Jindal group. So all your brothers have their various separate businesses, but your mother is still on top of it all, right?
Yes.
How does the structure work, Naveen?
See, our mother is the chairperson of the entire O.P. Jindal group.
Yeah.
And she's just, she's a, you know, I mean, she's a guiding force. She guides us all, keeps us all together. And, you know, we are all together. We all have our independence to do what we want to do.
Right.
We run our companies in a very professional way, all of us, all the brothers. And at the same time, you know, if I want to consult, you know, I know that my brothers are going to give me the best advice.
And yet very sensibly so, you're all very separate in business.
Yeah, businesses are all run separate. Ownership at the holding level is, is together. But the management is completely separate and very independent.
Which was a very good vision that your father had. Very
Yeah, my father
sensible to
always
put that in place.
Yeah, my father always felt that you could live together, you could eat together, but not work together.
Yeah.
If brothers worked together, they would have conflict.
So how did it actually pan out that Sajjan had JSW and you got Jindal Steel? Was it just something that you all entered by and by?
Again, it just happened very naturally, organically. Whoever was looking after whatever business, so everyone is controlling and looking after today whatever they were always involved in. And I being the youngest, so my father started this unit in Raigad and didn't really let any other brothers get much involved in it. Obviously my other brothers were helping it out, but my father was doing it all mostly by himself. So that when I come, I do not have a 20-year disadvantage, because the age gap between me and my eldest brother is 20 years. So when I came in, I started to come and work under my dad.
What would you say are the 3 or 4 major milestones that you've achieved for JSPL?
Mining has been very helpful.
Yeah.
And then secondly, power generation, because that is what has really done us really well, to set up our own 1000 megawatt power plant, and before that to have own captive power plant.
Yeah.
Because there has always been a shortage of power in India. So we utilize the waste gases, the waste coal that we were producing as a byproduct in the plant, to utilize that to generate power.
What about in terms of turnover? That's obviously a very big milestone for you as well.
Actually, yes, obviously turnover, profitability, they're very big milestones. But I personally, you just keep doing your work, you just keep growing, naturally, whatever you can, as much as you can handle, and then these things automatically come. If you produce more, sell more, then obviously the turnover would come. And if your fundamentals are right, then obviously the profits would come.
What would you say your philosophy at work is at the moment? What are the fundamentals that the company is standing on?
We just try to do a good job for all our stakeholders, be that our shareholders, our suppliers, our employees, the communities that we work around, the state governments, the central governments. We just try to be a good corporate citizen, do whatever we are doing. whether it is mining. So we try to be very use all the environment friendly practices. We are very conscious of the environment when whenever we're doing mining or producing steel. We try to use the latest technologies, most environment friendly technologies. We try to be very efficient in the use of resources, and try to be so that ultimately whatever we produce is of good quality and at good price, and we try to give a good service to all our customers. Try to see that there is a lot of transparency in the organization and people work honestly.
You've talked about mining quite a lot, which has changed the face of your company. But it's been involved in quite a few controversy. How do you generally deal with the controversy that surrounds your life? It has been a tough year in terms of public perception. So how do you deal with that?
Initially, I was very disappointed when all these controversies came, especially regarding coal mining.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, I said, this is something, these coal blocks which were given out to us in 95, 96, there were no takers. And whichever experts that we used to have, they used to say that these coal blocks are useless. And when we started our coal mines, at that time, our own team, our own people said this coal is useless. So we worked very hard. We put up a washery. We used the clean coal for making sponge iron. The rejects we used for power generation. And then we worked so hard to make it a success. And then when it became a success, obviously so many other people, I would say it has inspired hundreds of people to go in for coal mining. And out of whatever maybe 250, 300 coal blocks that have been given out so far, only 15% have started so far. It's not easy to start coal mines in India. And then suddenly, rather than being hailed as a hero, all these people who have made it a success, you suddenly realize you're part of a controversy, as if you committed a great sin. So it has been very tough for us. Now, after so much time, we realize, and I think people have also, all over the world, whether we talk of USA, we talk of South America, so many countries in South America, we talk about Europe, Africa, so many countries in Africa, Australia, Indonesia, nowhere are they auctioning coal blocks. They are very happy if a company wants to come forward and take the risk of investing in these coal blocks, and whatever coal they take out and to sell to anybody, they pay a royalty on the coal, and if end of the day they make any money, they are going to pay income tax. But just imagine what government of India has been asking since 1993, that we give you a coal block, you cannot sell the coal. You have to necessarily set up either a steel plant or a power plant or an existing steel plant. We're going to allow you to use the coal in existing steel plant. So that means not only you're paying royalty on that coal, but also with that coal you are investing billions of dollars. You're giving thousands of jobs, and then producing steel or power, and then paying profits on it also. Paying taxes on your profits also. So it's such a good scheme, and I think it has done so much good to the country. And then to feel that no, it should have been with Coal India, private sector. This differentiation between public sector and private sector, I think is really unfortunate.
Running for election. Obviously, it runs in the family. Is that why you decided to?
Well, I did draw my inspiration from my father, but I have always felt very strongly that whatever we see, whatever the India is today, it's because of the people. So whatever is good, we are responsible for it. Whatever is bad, we are responsible for it. So if we want to change things, we have to lead from the front. We have to take the responsibility and work on changing that. So I felt that to make the country of my dreams, definitely whatever as a businessman, as an industrialist I can do, I'm already doing it. But then a lot more needs to be done, and for that it's important to be in politics. So I decided to join the Congress party, and I was very inspired by the work done by Congress party. I met Mrs. Gandhi and I was very inspired after meeting her, and I decided to join the Congress party. I must say, it's very tough. It's not easy to be in politics. I have 2 million people in my constituency, and I visit so many people, so many villages. I see so many, I visit people, there are deaths in the family, and so many, things happen. So it is very tough, but then it does make you tough also. You learn so much. You see the reality of life. You see the ground realities, and I feel even though I do not enjoy it, but as a my responsibility towards my country, I do want to give the best years of my life in making the country of my dreams.
But you're a businessman as well, and you're a politician as well. Sometimes that's perceived to be a little muddy.
A lot is said about this, that why should businessmen or industrialists be in the parliament? Now, if you think of it, parliament is supposed to be representative of the country, correct? So people from all walks of life should be there in the parliament. Whether you are a worker, you are a professor, you are a professional, or you're a doctor or a lawyer, because yeah,
there's a perception of industrialists having access
yes,
to resources, etc., of the country, more so than a doctor or lawyer, perhaps.
okay, that is one argument.
Yeah.
But I would say that, say I for one do not serve on any of the committees of the areas where I might have conflict of interest. It is popular to bash industrialists joining politics, businessmen joining politics, but I think which is very wrong. We have to encourage people, because my constituents, people who elect you, they want people who are honest, who are not going to be making money for themselves, but who are there to do social service, to do something for them.
And in a sense, because you're successful in your business,
Yes.
the incentive to profit out of politics is less for you.
It's not there at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I do politics at a great cost to my business, to my personal life, but this is out of my love for my country, responsibility towards my country, that I'm doing something, and time will tell.
Yeah.
If I'm able to make an impact, do something good, then only I would consider that it was worthwhile for me to be in politics. Otherwise, I would say, yeah, I mean, other people, what they were saying was correct.
What do you identify with more, business or politics?
A lot of people ask me these questions.
Yeah.
And I say that I change, like everyone else, I change my role many times a day. Somewhere I'm a son, somewhere I'm a father, somewhere I'm a husband, someplace I'm a polo player. So when I'm riding a horse, I have to be just a rider. So when I'm in the parliament, I'm a member of parliament. When I'm in constituency, I'm a public servant. I'm trying to serve my constituents. When I'm running my business, I'm the chairman. I try to do the best. But obviously, being all these things also, I feel that they're only complementary. The skills that I learn in business, I can, how to be very efficient player. If we could bring that efficiency in government, I think it would do wonders.
No, it's just that when you have a company which is over $3.5 billion, you have to travel a lot for that. You have your constituency, you have other passions like polo, shooting, etc. How do you balance it all? As you said, you have made tremendous sacrifices and compromises, perhaps in your personal life as well.
Sure. It is very challenging to balance it all, and sometimes things do get unbalanced also. Yeah. But now, say, I'm not shooting anymore, yeah, but see, one has to exercise, right? Yeah. And exercising to keep yourself fit is not an option, it is a must.
Yeah.
So rather than exercising, I'm riding a horse, I'm playing polo.
Sure.
Okay, so that does give me a lot of character also. Business also, I would say I'm giving less and less time. I have very good professionals. Yeah. I am involved in all the strategic decision making. But now going forward, I want to devote more and more time in politics, in really doing something worthwhile, very, very meaningful for the people of our country. I'm working very seriously on population stabilization.
Right. You've also won a huge fight, as it's been a very public thing, for an Indian citizen to have the right to hoist the flag. That's a very proud moment. It must have been a very proud moment for you and your family as well.
Yes.
So one sees a natural fighter in you, which a lot of people don't have or inherit in some form a business or a legacy.
My father always said that a coward dies many times, the brave dies only once. So, and he also said that, you know, we are destined to fight, but when we fight for the right cause, it suits us. You know, God is always there with us if we are fighting for a just cause. So I really strongly believe in that. And then from my own experiences, I realized that every time, you know, I've done something for a just cause, then you get support of other people, millions of people, and then God blesses you, and then you achieve success. Like you talked about the national flag. It was not easy for the national flag. It took me 10 long years, starting in 1993, and finally we got the order on 23rd January 2004. So 10 years, and there were obviously lots of moments, you know, when we felt, oh, you know, we don't have a good case and we are not going to win. But I was I had very strong conviction that, you know, it is a just cause, and the day, you know, everyone is going to be allowed to display the national flag, you know, our feelings for our country would change, and I'm very happy about that.
So just going back to your education as well, you were an MBA from the University of Texas in '92. You were president of the student government. So you've been active in leadership from being a student to now.
Well, I always believe that a leader has to lead from the front. So, and people do not do what you say, people do what you do. You have to set an example yourself, and then people would follow or emulate you.
What would be the overall vision you have for your life in business and politics and otherwise over the next 5 to 10 years?
Continue doing the same things. I'm loving my life. You know, I'm playing polo. I'm looking forward to playing more and more polo with my son. Then in politics, I hope the Kurukshetra parliamentary constituency that I represent, I'm able to do a lot of developmental works over there. I'm able to make more progress in India on population stabilization. So I'm really working on that. Then also on a lot of skill development. We have such a huge population of the youth. So wherever we are setting up plants, we are also working on setting up community colleges, O.P. Jindal community colleges. We're looking at working on some hydropower projects in the northeast of India. So these are very interesting and challenging projects, and keeps me very occupied. And I do firmly believe that this is a very good contribution, because only good talk doesn't work. You know, you have to show a lot of work also, because after all, a man is known by his work. So trying to do good work which would be very beneficial in making a country a strong economy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and all the best.
Thanks, Devna. See you. Take care.